What's
What's
going
up?
on? It's another wonderful day at a Brodacious Life. Of course, my name's Jonathan. I've got the famous Dr. J with us. What's going on, Dr. J? What's the word, man?
What's up, man? Just chilling. How about my Braves? Beat the Mets the last two nights.
All
Going
that.
in for the kills, son.
I know. What time do they play today?
7 o'clock. It's gonna be good. Gonna have the big green egg rolling. Gonna be outside, outdoor fireplace lit, and I'm gonna be lit. It's going to town, man. Going to town.
Oh man, they say it's the most important regular season series in the last decade. They're putting a lot of emphasis on this series. So Atlanta's already taken 2 of the 3. So hopefully they'll get the full sweep tonight. That would be amazing.
Yes, it would be. Go for it. We don't need Freddie Freeman.
Oh, poor Freddie.
I know. Look, when he's no longer a Dodger, I'm gonna be the first one to say we got to put him in the Hall of Fame. But right now, he's wearing a Dodger uniform, so he's dead to me.
Maybe he'll come back. There's always hope.
Look, at that point, I'm gonna love the guy again. But at this point, he's a Dodger.
He's on his own. He made his decision. It's kind of, I don't know. He's kind of like the bad ex-girlfriend at this point.
That's it, man. Hey, look, I'm pretty fired up about this topic today about finding motivation because, look, it's been a pretty hard week for me at work, lots of stuff going on. And I have to admit that finding motivation is not always easy. And I sort of came to this topic of finding motivation because I was Google searching finding motivation. Have you had a motivating week this week?
Josh, I'll be honest with you. This has been one of the tougher weeks for me this week. I've been all over the road. When you said, I've got this conversation that I want to have today on the podcast about motivation, I just wanted to be like, praise Jesus. I feel like you're about to preach to me. Jesus. We're about to get it on, and I'm just really excited about it.
Yeah, look.
Message.
Let's just dig right on into finding motivation. So I'm going to start by maybe talking about defining what motivation is, because you can't find it if you don't know what you're looking for. So here's what I think motivation is. Motivation, pure and simply, motivation is the amount of drive that you have to achieve your goals. It's the amount of gasoline in my tank to propel me forward. And I found 3 things that motivation is influenced by. The first one is, how much do you want to reach your goal? Right? How much gas I'm going to put in my tank depends on how bad I want it. If it's a taco mac, going trying to get into the Bruniversity, there's going to be a lot of gas up in my tank because I'm highly motivated.
Very nice.
That's it. The second thing
is shirt.
What'd you say? Go ahead.
And I got my Bruniversity shirt.
That's it. That's right. I'm working. I'm about to be on the plaque, man. Look, so how much you want to reach your goal. Number 2 is, what will you gain? That's important, because I know if I'm going to be putting a lot of effort, but I'm not really going to have any reward for all that risk, man, I'm not in it. So, I want to know what I'm going to gain. And number 3 is defining my personal expectations. So again, motivation is the amount of drive, and the amount of drive that we have is influenced by how much we want to reach our goal, what will you gain, and defining your personal expectation. What say you, sir?
Well, I think part of that is, we got to understand why motivation is important. It gives us a goal to work towards. It helps us to solve our problems. It helps change old habits. It helps you to cope with challenges, and it helps you see new opportunities that are there in front of you.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I mean, I have to be honest with you. There were a couple of times that I woke up today and I was going to my job, and I have to admit, I couldn't see all the opportunities. I'm just getting yelled at all the time, or there's just friction and things I got to do, and people that are always frustrated. And sometimes it's like herding cats to get high school kids on a team to go in the direction that is completely logical, makes complete sense. And from a bird's eye view, you can see, but in that moment, they don't always see it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, that one about helps you to see opportunities. I think that's a big one for me personally, is how do I see the opportunities that makes me want to overcome the challenges. So I don't know. You want to talk about some steps to finding motivation? I have a feeling if people were listening to this episode today, they're like, get to the point. So
for sure.
Let's do it. You ready?
But give us our steps let's give our steps to finding motivation.
All right. I'll go first. Number 1, You got to set yourself one specific achievable goal. I think that's huge. You know, if you want to find motivation and you just see a sea of things to do, you're not going to feel motivated. You're going to feel overwhelmed. That's a big difference. Sometimes we're trying to feel motivated, we actually feel overwhelmed. But I say step number one is to set one specific achievable goal.
All right. Number two is think about how to include that goal in your actual life. What do you need to do to make it happen, and put that time frame on it? And putting the time frame on it is a key point in that. A lot of times we'll say, I'm going to achieve this goal, but then we never put a time frame on the back end of it to hold ourselves accountable. It's like, okay, well, I got to make small steps. I love that image that was put up the other day of the small steps versus the big steps to climb that we put on our social media. And you've got to be making small steps each and every day towards that goal. And how do you do that? Well, you set a time frame for when I'm going to have that achievement done. What about you? What's the number third?
Look, you kind of went into it, and that is take the goal after you set it. And after you think about how you're going to include it into your life, you got to break it into small, easy tasks. Maybe my goal is I want to retire as a millionaire. Well, I'm not going to do that tomorrow. So my step that I can achieve today might be I'm going to read 2 chapters of a book by somebody that's a millionaire to see what they know. Or maybe in my case, before we got on to do this podcast, you know, I'm looking for properties on Zillow in a target area that I'm considering making a purchase on. You know, it's like you got to take a small step that I can do today, break it into easy tasks. Cause then you can feel a sense of accomplishment and get some motivation when you were like, hey, I might not have reached the end game, but today I took this step and man, I feel bodacious about this step. What say you? What about number 4?
Yeah. So number 4, if you remember when we talked about our book that we read, the Pathfinder's Journey, friendships and family are currency. This goes into that. Use your family and friends as support. Tell them about your goals and encourage them to help you keep motivated.
Yeah, I think that's pretty huge. And speaking of that too, that book and several other books, if you're out there and you're listening, you want to read what the chef and I read. If you go to brodaciouslife.com/resources, we have those books on there straight to, you don't even buy them from our website. It just sends you straight to Amazon where you can go get them. And there's a lot of books on there that will just get you fired up and motivated. I know you and we talk about that book, Can't Hurt Me, like
Yes.
all the time.
That
Who's that
book.
by? David
David Goggins.
David Goggins. Man,
David
that book
Goggins.
is like motivating, right?
So have you ever been on his YouTube? Listen to his
No.
YouTube shorts? Yeah, you listen to like a 30-second clip of this guy. You want to like tackle 3 walls and like you just want to like go and punch something or lift something crazy heavy. That dude is just hardcore when you hear that guy talk.
Okay, when we're done with this, that's where I'm going, man. I'm gonna go check
I
that
listen to
out.
his stuff in the morning. That's my morning motivation sometimes. When I'm kind of getting ready, I'm in the shower, I'll put that on, and that's kind of like my morning motivation when I'm in the shower. I'm listening to his little 30-second shorts in the morning.
I love it. You know, so you gave us the 4 steps of sort of finding motivation. Let's talk about the tools to help you stay motivated. Once I set my goal, I include it in my life, I break it down, and I get my family and friends to help me. How do I stay there? And I'll give the first one. You know, the first thing you have to do is make your goal a part of your routine by using like a diary or an app or a journal. And side note, we have that for you. And it's free. We're not after any money, but if you go to brodaciouslife.com and sign up for our newsletter, we'll actually send you a PDF file so you can put it up on your iPad of a Bodacious Life journal. And that is the big thing. It's all about motivation because we know science tells us, studies tell us that if you make your goal and you break it into small steps and you make those small steps a part of your routine, man, it's gonna help you out. So I know every day I've got like some time blocks dedicated to things that motivate me. I like to start my day off by reading something that inspires me. Sometimes it's the Bible, sometimes it's other books, sometimes it's a YouTube video like what you were talking about. But I like to start my day off with motivation. How about you give us the next one?
So positive self-talk, it's important to be effective in managing like your depression, anxiety. We know we've talked about breaking those barriers and understanding freedom in your life. So it's very important instead of saying I can't, it's I can try or I will do X. Quite often we kind of beat ourselves down to the pulp and we're really harsh on ourselves more so than we would be even another human being. So understanding and using the right language with yourself is very important. So make sure that you're keeping your mindset on how you're mentally focused in on yourself and the way you talk to yourself in a positive way.
I think that's huge, and I'll give the next one that kind of goes along with that, and that's mindfulness can help you relax and stay focused. And look, I do a little bit of meditation. Now, I don't sit with like my legs crossed and go, like I'm not doing any of that kind of stuff. Not there's anything wrong with that, I guess. But I use this app. I was sitting here looking at my phone called Headspace.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I get a little overwhelmed, I'll go in a room, I'll close the door, turn on Headspace, and it's just talking points, some calming music. And they'll just say, hey, think about this. And it puts me in a different place. It clears my thoughts and helps me to focus. And that's the way I sort of stay mindfulness and aware. So, yeah, mindfulness will help you stay relaxed.
Awesome. So with mindfulness, the next one is again, we talked about friendships are currency. So make sure that you're start a class or join a support group. Support groups can be an effective as professional help. Support groups to me are just as important, like depending on what you're working on, as a college degree. Because it's one thing to have an education on something. It's a whole nother thing to have somebody who's working beside you that is showing you how to do X. So whether that's working on your mindset, for me, I've had to rely on a couple of mentors to help me with some cabinetry work this week. But that same thing as building a cabinet is very similar to how you build your mindset. So it's very important to have a support group of people that you can rely on and to be a part of. And it's just important to be there to help others as it is for you to receive help.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I'm actually in a couple of support groups personally, both with motivation, more so with business, but it's that motivation world. One of the ones I'm in right now, fun fact, because I think people, especially millennial dads, kind of like are like, I don't need that self help stuff. But like, I'm taking the Bigger Pockets Real Estate Rookie Boot Camp right now, and I'm in an accountability group. And so once a week outside of that, me and about 6 or 7 other rookie real estate investors from all over the metro Atlanta area, we get on a Zoom call, and the Zoom call is pretty simple. What step did you take forward this week, and what do you learn? And what's been kind of cool about that is I'm learning everybody's in the same place as me. We've been able to help each other. I got a new group of people checking in on me, which causes me to stay motivated and productive. And
Right.
it's just been a great thing. And I made some new friends. So, you know,
Very nice.
yeah.
Last,
Look, you got to
go ahead.
reward yourself. If you
Yeah.
complete, reward yourself.
Reward yourself.
I mean, sometimes you just got to celebrate your greatness. All you brodacious people out there, you've lived a brodacious life. Celebrate your brodacious life. You are a lion. You are the king of your jungle. And a lion needs to lion. And sometimes you need to find a mud pit and just roll in it and have a good old lion time. You know what I'm
Good old
saying?
life. Ah.
That's it. That's it. What say you? What about the next one?
Regularly review your goals and progress. Seeing progress is a great motivator in itself and it improves your self-esteem. It's just like when you're trying to lose weight and you go through and you look down on that scale and you're like, yes, I've lost 2 pounds. You just get so hyped on that. Well, it's the same thing with other goals as well, whether that be in your professional life, your personal life, or your physical and spiritual life. And, again, I like the David Goggins method of writing it down on either, we say our journal, but I write it down in my journal and I still write it on sticky pads and I put it in my mirror. That's kind of my way when I'm in there in the morning, I'm brushing my teeth, or late at night. Did I achieve this goal? Am I making this guy happy? Am I doing that guy justice? Regularly review those goals and that progress. And it's important to make sure that, it keeps you motivated on the track.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of goes along with the next one. Continue to set new goals. When you reach a goal, don't rest. When you get there, set a next one and set a next one for the next month, for the next year. Continue to tackle one at a time so you don't get overwhelmed. but always be in a process of trying to, to achieve goals, because that feeling of achievement, that knowing that you accomplished that simple task that led to something, that's great fuel in the fuel tank. So, continue to keep setting goals.
Right. And again, it's keep that momentum up. It takes up to 3 months to develop a new habit. So keeping the momentum and the routine, it helps and makes it feel more automatic over that's out there. It's a great book that helps you develop positive habits.
Yeah, and the next one I have is find mentors. You find someone who is in the thick of doing what you're doing, somebody who's very motivating, and spend time with them. I've got a couple friends of mine that I try to motivate them for something, because I don't ever want to just be a taker. I want to be a giver, a part of that relationship as well. But there's some people, man, that just being with them motivates me to achieve new
Of course.
things. And so I consider them my mentors. I'm an alpha lion in my jungle, but if there's an alpha lion over there that is ruling their jungle maybe a little bit better than me, I want to know what that lion knows in his jungle so that I can put it into my jungle. So, anyways, find find a mentor, and you can do that like meetups, whatever you're into. For
Right.
me, it's real estate or band. Those are the two things I spend most of my time. For you, it's cooking and culinary, but there are all these things out there, homesteading. There's other people doing it, and find you a mentor that you can learn from, because you'll achieve more and find more success if you can learn from someone else and not have to make all of the mistakes they made. Some of them you're going to make anyways, but
For sure.
mentors are awesome.
So kind of going along with that, my next one would be, surround yourself with positive people, positive friends and family. They just enhance your positive self-talk, which helps to manage the symptoms of depression and anxiety. It's great to have that positive voice that's saying, hey, Dr. J, you're doing a great job today, man.
Thanks,
I
man.
know you're working hard. I know you're tired. But Josh, those kids I know you had your football game on Thursday night. I saw the video the other night on YouTube, and it was amazing. The band did a great job. It was odd circumstances having the game moved because of the hurricane. You guys went out, y'all had fun, y'all played a great halftime performance. Kids looked like they were having fun in the stands. And that's kind of what it's all about in the long run. And hey, you're doing a great job, and keep up the darn good work, man.
Thanks, man. I feel really rodacious right now. You are the real
You
deal,
should.
sir.
You are doing God's work. I just cook.
And that is why I surround myself with positive. Look, you don't just cook, you bring people together. You create an environment that they share life. Because of you, marriages are healed. Because of you, relationships are better. Parents are spending time with their kids and investing. They're doing all around these meals that you make. And if nothing else, I will tell you this: to this day, the best steak I have ever put in my mouth was created by Chef Jonathan. And I've had some great steaks in many places from Europe to over here, but no one steak has topped your steak.
I'll take anybody on steak.
You will. I'll never do it. I'll never take you on because I don't want to win.
We're gonna redo this burger though.
Nope, nope. I'm keeping my victory. I'll add one last one into this too. Use exercise. Exercise, getting out, you get the endorphins going, go for a walk, be in nature. We've talked about before, you play airsoft, which is
Yeah,
cool.
I would play next
I like to
weekend.
get out, go for a walk, go for a bike ride, play a little paintball, nature trail, some things like that. So, get out there, walk. That's a way to stay motivated, because sometimes, and it kind of goes back to mindfulness, you get into a little bit better headspace and you feel more motivated.
Very nice. Very nice.
So let me ask you this. What happens if you lose motivation? Because you and I were talking for this show started. We've had some pretty challenging times this week, and there's been some times
Right.
I felt motivated. And in all honesty, there are some times I felt that motivation was leaving me, and I had to find it again. I was like looking like,
Sure.
motivation, where are you?
That's been my weekend. It's been
You
my week.
know, so what do you do when you lose motivation?
So I like to review my goals and see if they are realistic in the time frame that I've set. You may need to break down your goal down further into smaller bits and more achievable goals. A lot of times we have such, and we should set our goals high, and we should reach for the heights. But in that process, sometimes we might overshoot And sometimes it's good to, okay, well, that's my ultimate goal way down here. What are the small steps, and break them down a little bit smaller as what I can be doing to achieve that big goal?
Yeah, and that kind of goes along with something I throw in there too. Here's another one. Remember why you like were motivated to reach the goal in the first place.
Yeah,
If my goal is I want to have more freedom and less time doing other things, I may eventually burn out and lose motivation. But if I can remember that the reason I wanted to make the sacrifice is to get more time in my schedule is because I want to spend more time with my wife and with my son. And I want to do those things that I didn't get a chance to do. I want to be there for my daughter when she goes to prom. And, I want to see all those things and be a part of that. If I can remember that why, and that why is so important to me, it's going to help me stay more motivated for the what.
for sure. My next thing is, take motivation from others. We are talking about David Goggins and his YouTube shorts. Feel inspired by reading a book, talking to a mentor, friends. A YouTube video, as weird as that is, we live in a crazy technology world. But there's even family, of course, who have similar goals than as you're trying to reach. Look over and see what they're doing and find motivation from that. That, hey, that person's doing a great job. I want to achieve that. And again, it just kind of helps you dig down. Okay, this task is achievable because this person over here is doing it. So if I can do it too.
Yeah, and the final thing is to add on to that is sometimes you just got to take a break and then start fresh. Um, eh, eh, Sometimes you just got to stop for a little bit
Yeah.
and go, okay, I'm going to restart this and it's going to be okay. I'm going to
And there's
get
nothing
through it.
wrong with that. There's
Absolutely
absolutely
not.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, I do that a lot. If I sometimes the person that I work with, she is awesome, and sometimes she goes, this is a future problem. I'm going to put this aside today. This day did not work, so I'm going to go home. I'm going to not think about this. I'm going to get some sleep, and I'm going to get up and come back. I'm just going to try again and start again tomorrow. And I have found thinking that that's a future Dr. J problem that I'm going to focus on more tomorrow. That's actually helped me get through some stuff and
Yeah.
it'll get me motivated to get through this day to come back and try again the next day,
And a lot of it is about, understanding when you need to pivot. We talk about, we're still reaching for the same goal. Think of a basketball goal, but sometimes, when I say pivot is, we keep our foot planted into what our goal is, but sometimes we got to move that left foot, forward, backwards, behind us, whatever we need to do to kind of juke out, if you will, the problem, and to be able to firmly plant it back to make our shot at our goal. It's okay to pivot and to make smaller adjustments to be able to make your shot. There's, I think too often we go for hardcore success or hardcore failure. And it's like, no, there's lots of mini successes as well as many failures that happen along in that process. So you got to be able to pivot, if you will, and during your, reaching of your goals.
Yeah, I think that's huge. Don't be scared of change.
For sure.
Sometimes your goals change over time too, and
Oh,
don't
my
lock it in. It's okay to know, hey, I have changed as a person, which is a good thing. It means I've grown. So as I grow, my goals are going to change. That doesn't mean failure. Sometimes your goal changing is a sign of growth.
right.
So, just to throw this out there too, there's some available resources. We already mentioned if you go to abrodaciouslife.com/resources, just tons of books, so many good ones. And to throw this out there too, just some things that are on our show that you can find on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or YouTube. But if you go back to episode 4, Understanding Personal Energy, that was a great one. Episode 8, Understanding Head Trash. Episode 15, Good Vibes, Good Life, right? That was such a good one. Uh, Episode 29, Practical Ways to Live a Good Life.
Yeah.
Episode 35, I think is huge. I would say like everyone should go listen to episode 35 and 36. 35 is the power of yet. I haven't achieved it yet, but I will.
Yep.
And then episode 36 is overcoming the barriers to self-improvement. So like if you're going through this today and you're like, okay, I'm finding my motivation now, but I've still got some barriers to improving. I would tell you to go check out episode 36 because you and I had just a great conversation on there. And the final thing I would tell you too is go subscribe to our newsletter. Like, obviously, when you're watching this YouTube video, you see our eyes glancing at some notes because we do a lot of research on this and we do a lot of homework, and we send our notes out. So everyone that's on our newsletter by the end of this week is actually going to get the same thing that we're looking at, because this is a lot of information we share today, and we've got it in bullet points to help you be able to implement it faster with links and stuff like that. So I will tell you, subscribe to our newsletter, and every week when you hear something, we can shoot it to you. And I mean, it's pretty easy. It'll help you stay motivated. What about you, sir?
So kind of a call to action that goes along with our Brodacious Journal. Again, whenever you're subscribed into the newsletter, you get a free copy of our Brodacious Journal. You can print that. I downloaded into my Notion app. And so that way I can just free write it with my Apple Pencil. I'm an Apple geek, so that's the easiest for me. I'm that weird guy who geeks out on all things Apple, so that's just what's easiest for me. But it's also printable as well, so you can print it out, put it in a little notebook, and it'll be a great thing to have as well. It's just something that you write in. So to help you just implement daily design in your life, it's very structured. It helps you focus in on what you've got going on, what's your goals, what's your achieve, and ultimately, how does these goals matter to our 5 pillars? Dr. J, what's our 5 pillars?
I got this, sir. It is faith, because that's the glue that holds everything together. Family, that's the purpose we do everything for. Freedom, because every brodacious lion wants to live free. It's finance, because if you're going to be free, you need the financial resources to be free. And then, of course, fun, because every lion wants to have fun. And if you don't know what I mean by be a lion, go check out our channel, go to brodaciouslife.com and check out the episode on living like a lion, because it will totally explain that. And that's what we do here, is we're trying to help people, man, be a lion, rule your jungle.
And again, the journal is about, helping you get just 1% gains every single day. It's not about, purposely making you write down a whole bunch of excess junk. It's really to help provide a framework. This week was hectic for me, and I got to be completely honest with you. I believe it was more hectic because I was not faithful in my journaling. And I believe that lack of consistency is what led to such a chaotic week. When I see that I'm being fruitful in that, and then I'm going to have a better week because my week is structured. I'm more focused. I have my priorities in line. And it's just something that's just really keeping me motivated towards my goals, because I'm seeing them written right there in front of me. And then I'm journaling back, on how am I doing in achieving that goal each and every single day. And again, that's all about to help you spend more time doing the things that really matter. So you can find that at abrodaciouslife.com. All right. Well, Dr. J, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for the great words today. I really did need this conversation today. I needed motivation today.
Hey, me too. And I will tell you, if there's anybody else out there that wants just some accountability and they just want whatever, go check out our Instagram page at A Brodacious Life, all one word. You can see behind us how to spell it. I'll shift it to the side so on YouTube you could see it. You know what I'm saying? But go check out our Instagram page, and then feel free to make a comment. It's not like, you're in social media land somewhere, so you don't have to feel weird about it, and just say, hey, I was struggling for motivation, this week on this thing, and let's talk, let's chat. And then the final thing is if you ever want to get to know Chef and I as a person, you can find me, my personal social media, on Twitter at Josh R. Boyd. And where could someone find you if they wanted to skip straight to the chef?
I want to skip straight to the chef. Find me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. And that's Chef Jonathan Boyd. You'll see, I believe, a picture of me and my wife. I believe that's what it is right now. But you'll see pictures of the farm and the food that I'm doing and all the travels that I do for work, because I do a lot of consulting and chefing for restaurants throughout the Southeast. So you kind of get to see kind of a back room preview of kind of what I get to do in a daily life. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was a great episode. Thank you so much.
Good job, team. You have a brodacious week.
Brodacious.